Welcome everybody back to another episode of Bobby Likes the Spooky. Day 8 of this Halloween Ends countdown on the road to Halloween Ends. I'm super excited. As you guys know, I'm reviewing each Halloween movie with a special guest every single day. And today's day 8. And day 8, obviously, you can see down here who I'm bringing in. So welcome my special guest, my buddy, Brother Ghoulish.
Hey, what's up? I want to do something a little different, so did my eyelashes a little different for you.
Oh my gosh. What's up, man? What's good?
Nothing much.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about Resurrection, the best installment to the
Okay.
franchise. Obviously,
Many people will fight you for saying that, but okay.
I'm an agent of chaos.
And that's reasons, you're part of the reason why I started this. I remember I was having a conversation with you, and you said, Bobby, if you do this, I'm choosing resurrection. And I said, yeah, I knew right there you was choosing chaos.
You called it right on the money. It's like you knew it could have been any of the other ones, but it had to be this one.
hmm And I
I
was,
saw
you know
this
what?
in
And
theaters.
I wasn't like expecting it. I thought you was going to choose like maybe, I don't know, Halloween 6 or 4 or 5, somewhere in the middle, maybe even Season of the Witch. But I was not expecting Resurrection. So, but we're
Yeah,
here. Thank you.
it was a toss up for me between this and the Rob Zombie ones.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have a lot to say about those too, but that's
Of
a different.
course. Yeah. I mean, the Rob Zombie ones for sure. Um, a lot of people don't know, but unfortunately, Rob Zombie's Halloween, 2007 one, was my first Halloween movie I seen in theaters.
Oh,
I never seen H2O and I never seen Resurrection in theaters. I seen both of those on VHS. H2O, I think, I was still kind of young and nobody didn't really want to take me, and or friends didn't want to go. And then for Resurrection, I was old enough, but I don't know what happened. I guess I just wasn't in like, oh, I must go see this movie. I don't know. It's for some reason Resurrection just didn't appeal to me that
yeah.
much. So I just waited until like it came out on VHS and I watched it with a group of friends. So uh
Mm.
yeah, so unfortunately Rob Zombie Halloween was my first Halloween film. But I had a good time watching it in theaters. It was a nice memory.
It's
Yeah.
very the thing that I like about the Rob Zombie Halloweens is how brutal they were. It
Yeah.
actually made it like really fun to watch. And I think like
hmm
some of the newer Halloweens, like they have like I mean they're a little bit more brutal, but it's kind of similar in how amped up Mike Myers is. But the one that I did see in theaters was Resurrection, which is funny. And I still
hmm
have my ticket stubs. And
Oh wow.
I was excited because I saw that Tyra Banks and Busta Rhymes was going to be in it. And so I'm
hmm
thinking, oh, they're about to be, the leads of the film. Like Tyra's going to be the final girl. And Busta, I
Child.
should have known better. Busta Rhymes is going to be the love interest. And he'll get killed at the last minute, but it'll be emotional. But no, they didn't.
Well, when we talk about this movie, let's just say that no, none of that was. And I will say too. All right, so they call like the poster that's like on my side around
Mm,
that time, and like in the '90s and stuff. Part of my dogs, everybody. Um, they use these posters, and they're called like the floating heads or whatever the
mm.
hell they call them. And that was just the thing from like the mid late '90s, early 2000s. Um, and so, like you said, you got Buster Rhymes, Sean Patrick Thomas, and Tyra Banks on here. So I'm just like, oh shit, like it's going to be kind of similar to you. I was like, all right. I was more hype about Buster Rhymes and Tyra Banks because
Yeah,
I used to love Buster Rhymes and Tyra Banks. I mean, America's Next Top Model. So
yeah.
like, and so I had the same thoughts. But when we get into the movie, I'm just like, I didn't get nothing from. I mean, we got something from Freddie, Buster Rhymes' character, but Tyra Banks was, you could just take her out. Like, you wouldn't notice a difference in the change in the movie.
I was rewatching it and I couldn't figure out if she survived or not because
Exactly.
she just kind of vanishes.
We don't even, okay, we won't get into it, but like, she's probably in this movie for 5 minutes, probably not even 5 minutes total, if
And
you
she's
think
always
about it.
dancing in every scene that she's in.
Right.
terribly.
Yeah, it just to whatever early 2000s music that she was dancing to. You know, it reminded me of this one of those made up songs. Do you remember 17 again with Taj Mahari, Tia and
Yeah,
Tamara where and it was like they would play like those teen made up like made for TV songs. It reminded
yeah,
me like one of those songs if you go back and listen to it. I'm just like they made this shit up and it sounds horrible. Like come on, y'all could have put on some Samantha Mamba or Spice Girls or some shit she could have been dancing to. SW, I don't know, something.
yeah. Not SWV. You know they have a new album coming out. No, 3LW. Sorry, 3LW has an album coming out in a
No, they
couple months.
don't.
Yes.
No, they don't. I don't believe that. Because
Why? Why are you not accepting it? It's happening.
because Adrian don't fuck with Killy like that.
Hmm.
Notori, I think her and Adrian got they're friends now. But Killy, I don't think she messed with any of them, and they don't mess with her. So who's the third little woman? Raven.
Resurrection happened, so a new 3LW album can happen, baby.
So Halloween Resurrection, the plot goes the original house of horrors, the dilapidated home of infamous serial killer Michael Myers has now become the set of a webcam reality show. But when the veteran slasher discovers that a group of university students has taken over his old killing grounds, he decides it's time to bring the Blades out of retirement.
Oh,
Halloween Resurrection was directed by Rick Rosenthal, who also did Halloween 2 in 1981, which is weird because Halloween 2 is so much better than this fucking movie. So
yeah.
I'm just like, what happened? What happened?
Because aside
I,
from my joking, like I can't even imagine the same mind between Halloween 2 being responsible for this, unless Atlas shrugged.
yeah, it's just when I found that out, I'm just like, are you serious? Like, there's it's so different. Like, there's no similarity there. It's nothing. It's just what? Like, I was shocked. I was surprised. So okay,
I
do
think
you, Rick?
you're forgetting the Easter eggs, clearly, that were inside of the home.
Wow, a huge Easter egg.
That's what you're forgetting. Like
Okay.
the bathrobe that Judith was wearing was clearly hanging up on the curtain rods. So yeah.
I mean, I guess. I thought you said the bathrobe that Laurie Strode was wearing when she was getting chased by
Yes.
Michael in the beginning.
Yeah,
But I
that's
think that wasn't a bathrobe. I think it was just.
mhm.
Oh.
I can't even keep a straight face.
All right. So, your experience with this movie. When was the first time you seen it?
In theaters, like,
Hmm.
and it didn't give me at the time. I loved it. I won't lie to you. Like when I was a young kid watching this, it was a lot of fun, especially to just be in the theaters watching with my brothers and my cousins and stuff. I think I was in Alabama at the time
Oh.
that I was watching this, if I remember correctly. But ooh, I actually carried the love of this film for so long that when I first met you, if you remember, I actually didn't. I was like, oh yeah, I don't remember Resurrection being that bad.
Hmm.
And then like I sat down and rewatched it and was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is awful. Like this is actually I think like I said, I loved Tyra. I loved Busta Rhymes. And so going into the theaters and actually seeing them like interact with a horror movie, I think that was kind of fun for me. And I didn't really care if slashers were dopey or like fantastical as a kid. So like him doing stuff like, cutting someone's head off with a kitchen blade, you know, it's silly, but at the time I wasn't thinking about all that. So I just had a good time. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, this movie's terrible.
Yeah. All right. So it's funny that you mentioned that because all right. So if this movie came out in the 80s, yeah, we're probably like, oh, he decapitated somebody with a kitchen knife. Yay, he's human strength. But I guess for the fact that this movie came out in the early 2000s and as Michael Myers, because we never seen Michael Myers do anything like that before, we're kind of just like, okay, sure. But when you seen this in theaters, did you like it when coming out of it? Do you remember liking it? And now that you watched it, obviously time after time, and you watched it recently, like
Mhm.
obviously you have a change of opinion. But do you remember liking this movie a lot more when you seen it in theaters?
Yeah, I liked it better in theaters, but that's pretty much where the buck stopped. I think. Like, I
Okay,
think I just went too many years without having watched it again.
okay. A lot of people say they love this movie so much because like it's fun and things like that. You know what? There's certain parts in this movie that's fun,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
there's a lot of it that again I'm a huge Halloween fan. That's another reason why I'm doing this whole thing right here. And it's just that I it just everything that I liked about Halloween and Michael Myers, it just they just took away in this movie. Like it was just I didn't get any of the vibes. I didn't get any of like the Halloween feels. I didn't like any of the characters. Like I didn't like none of them. Like any of them. Any of them, like all of them were trash to me. And I wanted to love Sean Patrick Thomas, but I feel like they didn't give him that much to do. And like Buster Rhymes is cool. He's the comic relief, but I didn't
Yeah.
really care for his character that much. Tyra Banks, I mean, again, a waste. So it's just I'm happy I didn't see this in theaters, and I'm actually I will say in the beginning of this I felt ashamed saying that Rob Zombie was my first Halloween experience, but I think I would have been more ashamed to say that Resurrection was my experience first as a Halloween fan, because at least with Rob Zombie's Halloween, it's something we got a little something new and there's something a little fresh in the beginning, and then when you get the second half of the movie, that's when it becomes a little of a retelling of the first movie. And I was okay with that because they switched some things up a little bit. You had Danielle Harris coming back, you had a different Laurie who I felt like did a great job. And Michael Myers was even scared. He was scary in that one, this tall dude, fucking shit up, walking through fucking walls and bursting through doors and shit like that. So it was an exciting movie for me. But Resurrection, man, I don't know. I don't know. But let me ask you this. So this came out in the early 2000s, and in the early 2000s, reality TV was really, really big. Still big
Mhm.
to this day, but at that time, it was huge. So you have shows like Big Brother, Survivor, um, like those type of reality shows, and
Yeah.
regular reality shows. Just watching people live their lives. This was a huge influence off of reality TV because you have these kids going inside the infamous Michael Myers house with these cameras where you have people watching them and helping them to navigate through certain ways around the house and escaping the killer and stuff like that. Which to me, I feel like is a cool concept because if I'm doing something like this and I'm communicating with somebody that's watching me a reality show and helping me navigate and escape from a serial killer rather than me doing it just on my own, I feel like that's a unique approach to doing a horror movie, especially for around this time. I think it just didn't work for a Halloween movie because Michael Myers is, I don't know, I feel like that's just a whole different feel, but you incorporate in reality TV with Halloween, Laurie Strode and Michael Myers story was just a little, I don't know, it became a little muddled to me. I mean, I liked the concept, but it just those two just didn't fit well for me. I felt like it
Mhm.
would if it was an original movie and something different that had nothing to do with Halloween. I felt like it would have worked more. But what you think?
I actually love your points, especially because like upon this most recent rewatch, um, I noticed that in the beginning of them setting up the reality TV show and stuff, it just kind of felt bland. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not really sure. This feels like a really bad idea. But what I noticed is the one redeeming thing about the whole concept was that, excuse me, Busta Rhymes was actually going to dress up like Michael Myers, and then he was going to go in and actually interact with them. And then
Hmm.
you see that it's going to be on Halloween night. I think that the show is actually not as bad an idea as it seems at inception. Like it's okay. I just think that one, this movie being an hour 20 minutes kind of hurts all the things that they're trying to juggle.
Yeah.
And then I think also the characters who are going into the reality TV experience aren't interesting at all. Like I
Okay.
was even telling Emilio, it feels like I would be interested in watching this if there were people like maybe a Tiffany Pollard, New York, like going into it, because that would be more interesting. Or
Right.
if there were someone like a Paris Hilton type character where
Yeah.
she's extremely prissy and she's extremely like grossed out by how grimy the house is. So much so that when she's in there, she's just like, ew, like, oh, I
Right.
can't believe it. And like she,
Yeah.
when the I don't know what to call it, the little feeder for the baby that's on the chains, like
Oh
it
yeah.
slides out and she's like, ew, she kicks it and like and then put like a little bowl or something so it literally like spills
Yeah.
everywhere. That would have been hilarious. The character with the long red hair, I probably would have did something different with her too. I just feel like the tropes weren't there. And I know sometimes I talk shit about tropes, but I actually think they would be fun in an environment like this because they
Like
would
this.
represent the type of archetypes that we like in actual reality TV shows. It just feels like it was put together by someone who doesn't really watch reality TV shows. They were
Yeah.
egotistical. They were coming at it from a perspective of, oh, it's just easy to throw together like uh I don't know what to call it, but like a reality TV show inside of a, I don't even, what would this even be? Like inside of a vacuum. Because
Okay.
it was like only an hour 20 minutes. But I think it was okay. It had some potential. They just had to, I think, consult some people who actually watch reality TV. And
Yeah.
even the shows you were mentioning, they didn't even have to go big budget. They could have did some of the fun shows, structures like Eliminate or I can't even think of all the old ones I used to love, but just one of the silly,
Yeah.
goofy ones, and then
They
just have
had
Michael
like
Myers come up.
yes, they had shows like
Yeah,
Fear Factor
yeah,
and even like I think it was just called Fear on MTV where they put these people in horror scenarios and they had to escape and stuff. Like I think that's what they were trying to do, but you were right, Ryan. Like I feel like if they gave these characters more of sorry, somebody's car beeping. See, this is what happens when you record during the day. You hear fucking everything. Um, but you're right. I feel like if this movie would have been more fun with those tropes, like if we did have like the prissy girl and maybe a girl that's maybe a little more like a tomboy or a goth person or just I feel like these characters were boring, and they were trying to make the one girl with the blonde hair that got her head chopped off like the sexual, and
yeah,
she's there to be like a famous reality star, but it just didn't hit for me. And then our final girl, Sarah, she was uninteresting. Like
yeah,
I didn't really care for her. Like they wanted her to be like the final girl, scream queen, but I didn't get any of that from her. She was very like she was uninterested, and I didn't really care for her that much. And it's just like you said, if it was a little bit more campier and funny, I think this movie would have probably got a little bit more of a high praises.
yeah,
But these characters were uninteresting and they were kind of boring. So when they did go, it's just like, okay, whatever. Because one thing I will say with Halloween movies, they're not like Friday the 13th movies where um, you watch the movies just to see these characters die. They're like every
yeah.
character is
I
expendable. Like they're
agree.
all just there to go. If you watch every Halloween movie, there's at least one character that you might, oh, they were pretty cool. Why do you have to go? You know, um, even if they're annoying, they still have some characteristic in them that you probably like. I
Hmm.
can name a character from each movie. And this one right here, I can't name one. I didn't care for anybody in here. And I've seen this movie probably over like maybe 20 times since it came out, just because maybe it was on TV or somebody wanted to watch it. But my opinion still stands. Like I just really didn't care for any of these characters.
Yeah, I
Um,
I only saw it like a handful of times before the most recent recroppings of rewatches. Um, and I'm with you. It just kind of feels like they're disposable, bloody meat bags. And
mhm,
what's really sad about that is I like that you brought up the blonde girl because I feel like her trope should have been kind of like, and I know it's real predictable, but kind of like the loopy, like airy Rose from Golden Girls type character.
mhm,
But instead of just leaning into that, I'm shocked that they didn't think to subvert just maybe just a teeny bit, right? Where the main girl, who, like you said, she was so self-indignant and she was actually taking herself way too serious. These felt like people who had never seen, I'm talking about the actual girls who ended up on the show. they didn't feel like they had ever watched any reality TV shows. Like
Mm,
everyone knows reality TV's fake, so everyone's vamping up or buffing up their personality to be interesting. So you could have made her maybe on the cusp, like she knows that she has to get on there and pretend. She doesn't
yeah.
like it, but she still has some type of limit. There's a lot that she will and there's a lot that she won't do, kind of like Cam. And then the
Yeah.
other people, they're just hamming it up the whole entire movie. So even if there is this blonde vapid girl, maybe there's a moment where we see that she actually has a lot of brains. Because I mean, that's kind of how Paris Hilton was. She
Hmm.
acted one particular way, but she's actually very smart. She was even putting on a different voice. You could have made it about that and still stay within an hour 20. I don't want backstories
Yeah.
on these people. I just want to see that whoever's doing this knows that people ham it up for social media, and the true death of self could be like a metaphor of like Michael getting them out of here. Like he could just come and
Hmm.
kill these people any way he sees fit. And it's really just about how we kill ourselves to put on these new personas for the TV show. That'd have been
Hmm.
interesting. That'd have been fun.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know, child. I don't know who was like on consultation to put this together because it didn't say anything. Characters were dry,
Yeah.
pita bread, and I'm upset.
No, I agree with you. And like every time I watch this, I'm hoping that I find somebody that I like and enjoy, but it's just not happening.
It's a desert
Um,
out there, man. It's a
it
desert.
is. It is. I'm like, why did this movie get made? And it's again, I want to like it a lot, but it's just not hitting. Now, especially coming off of a movie like Halloween H2O, you expect that this movie uh would be, a little bit better. It would just, he got his head chopped off. How the fuck he's coming back this time? What's going to happen? So let's rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, they don't like resurrection either.
they're just like, no, just like, hold up. Before you go, I gotta get my thoughts. Um, so for hold on, I don't know why the screen popped up. All right, there we go. So coming off of H2O, Halloween H2O ended perfectly. I feel like that movie's not a perfect film. I talked about it before this episode here, but I still enjoyed it for the most part. There are interesting characters. You can tell that they were fans of Halloween, and they try to stay in that same world. Like there's a lot of Easter eggs from not just Halloween but even Psycho, because Psycho is where it
Oh,
start. Yeah, in the H2O. Because let's start there. In Halloween, well, yeah, in Psycho, that's Jamie Lee Curtis' mom that plays the woman that got killed in the
yeah.
shower. She's in Halloween H2O as well as Jamie Lee Curtis' secretary. And there's a lot of moments where them two have dialogue, mother and daughter, even though they're not
Mhm.
mother and daughter in the movie, but her mom is like, "Can I be maternal with you?"
Yeah.
That's like a hint right there. Also, her name is Norma in H2O, where there's Norman Bates in Psycho. There's a moment where after they had that dialogue together, she's walking back to her car, Norma, and they're playing the Psycho theme. Just you can hear a smidge as she's walking to her car, and that's the same exact car that she drove in Psycho, with the same exact license plate. So you can
See,
tell
I
that they
love
put
stuff
their
like that.
yes, you could tell horror fans made this. At that end, when the car rolls over and he's stuck and he's reaching out to her, and she chops his fucking head off, and then the
Yeah.
Halloween theme play, and just her just breathing and just like it's finally fucking over, and then credits, fucking amazing. Like that's one of the best like endings ever. And then we get Halloween Resurrection, where in the beginning, oh, she decapitated the wrong person. Michael Myers, switched suits with a paramedic, and oh well, the girl was like, oh well, why can't he talk? Oh well, his lyrics was crushed. It's just like, come on, come the fuck on, like. Michael Myers did all of that shit in a short period of time in H2O, so that's how y'all gonna bring him back in Resurrection. It did not make any sense to me. So let's talk about Lori. Lori is inside.
Let's.
So we all know Jamie Lee Curtis only came back for this movie is because of moolah, a paycheck. Exactly. She
Ching,
said,
ching,
if
ching.
I'm coming back, y'all need to kill me off in the fucking beginning of this movie. I chopped his fucking head off. There's no reason why he should come back. So if I need
Yep.
to come back, I need to die. If y'all not going to kill him, I need to go. And that's exactly what happened. Um, Ryan, I'm not too sure if you noticed this. and I say this all the time. So you might want to go back and rewatch. So there's a scene where when Michael finds Lori when she's inside the the
Yeah.
institution or whatever, and like he when he like kills the two security guards or whatever, which was funny to me too because he killed them and well at least one of them in like a super fast unbelievable way, but whatever. But when he finally finds Lori and he's like charging into her room like head first and breaks
Mm.
down the fucking door, Michael has a fro. Not too sure if you
Yeah.
noticed.
Yeah. His
And
hair's
she
so
hits,
big.
it's really big, and she hits him with the lamp, and he's chasing her up the stairs. And then when we get to the roof, his hair is
It's
slipped
slicked
back
over.
again.
Yeah.
So I always led. I'm just like, so y'all really had Michael Myers really walking out here with a damn fro? Okay.
He was definitely given which Gene was I always mix up the jeans. The one that used to wear the little white and the white and red shorts and do the workout routines. Gene
Oh
Simmons,
my
is that his
gosh,
name?
yeah, Gene Simmons.
It was
But no,
definitely
not
given
Gene
Gene.
Simmons. No, Gene Simmons is the rock and roll dude from
It's one
Kiss.
of the Genes. Hold up. Y'all
Um,
know who I'm talking about. Gene uh it might
or
not
is
be
it
Gene
something
at all.
Simmons? I think it's Simmons in it, but I don't think it's Gene.
Simmons workout guy. Let's see. Oh yeah, Richard Simmons. You're right. It was definitely giving Richard Simmons in the beginning, and then it was giving Mob Boss like on top of the roof with the slick back. I don't know what was happening.
I noticed stuff like that when I watch movies. Like I noticed, like yeah, you could definitely tell this wasn't one shot. You could definitely tell that he shot this in a different time. You go back and forth between two actors, and one moment like the hair might be in front of their face, and then the next shot is not in their face. But when you go back to them, it's front of their face again. Like I always notice stuff like that, and it's not always the the editors and stuff fault. But at this, because it's like once you got that shot and you have an important shot, it's like what can you do? You can't
Yeah,
make them reshoot it just for the small scene like that. But in this case right here, y'all had the nerve to even do a slow motion scene when he was walking through that door with that fro, and that was fucking hilarious to me. I'm playing that clip later.
I kind of liked the silhouette of the bigger hair, but the continuity was just so
Yeah,
bad. Like I don't remember if they kept up that continuity throughout the movie, but I think they did because even when Laurie was looking down at him, like from the window, that does me personally, it doesn't even seem to be the same Michael Myers. Like it looks like a completely different like build and structure. And
yeah,
even the quality of the costume looks completely different than
yeah,
when it's like up in her face. And I don't know if that's just because of the distance, but it doesn't feel like that's the case.
yeah. I remember Gray from Kill the Dead and Gray Matter. He invited me on his podcast to talk about Halloween Resurrection,
Yeah,
and our theories was saying that this wasn't Michael Myers in the movie. This was a copycat. Um,
that's
and
interesting.
yeah, we said like maybe the first half was Michael Myers, like after he found Lori, but like the rest of it wasn't Michael Myers because there was a couple of scenes in the movie that didn't make sense. Like for instance, when they knocked him out the window with the cord around his neck, and when he escaped, how the fuck he get back inside the house when Freddy came and was speaking to Sarah? And when he turned around, he was like right there. Y'all didn't see him walking up. Y'all didn't hear that how like the floorboards creak. You didn't hear that somebody was walking. He just magically fucking appears right there. So it was just a lot of problems that it just didn't make sense. So we were just like, this can't be Michael. It's a copycat, or it's two or three people playing Michael Myers, fucking with these people in this house.
Yeah, that's a lot of Michael Myers. Damn.
Listen. I'm hearing we might get a copycat killer in Halloween Ends, so we'll see. Um, Copycats is because the thing is with serial killer, especially as a famous killer like Michael Myers, you're going to have those sickles out there that want to do stupid stuff like this. So it wouldn't surprise me that you had somebody to be a copycat
Yeah.
killer, and especially if you're hearing about, oh, there's gonna be a group of teens going inside the Myers house and doing this. Yeah, let's really fuck with them. So I can, especially in the early 2000s, I can imagine people doing that. It would have been more of an interesting concept if that's what this movie was about, and it would kind of just like they can somehow include the reality TV situation along with having these copycat killers. It can be
That
like a
would
whole
be
thing thing.
interesting.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of people would be upset because it's not actually Michael Myers in this movie, but it would make sense also because Michael Myers got his head chopped off in the last one.
You
So
I like that a lot. And it shows the potential of if they were feeling bold to try to do a concept like this again, because yeah, that would be interesting. Like to think that it would also be making kind of commentary on how, like, in reality TV, like, super fans, I mean, like the wall yellers from this season of Big
mhm,
Brother, you think about it, people try to actually find where these things are being filmed just to interfere.
yes, yeah.
And then what better way to interfere than popping up dressed like Michael Myers? It's like 20 of them.
Right. I mean, and Freddie was trying to do it in this movie, like you said. Like
Yeah.
he didn't know Michael Myers was real, so he's going to dress up as Michael Myers to scare these kids, to make it seem like, it's actual, a killer there. I mean,
Yeah.
look, even when they were going through the tunnel or the walls or whatever it was, and they found like that fake limb and it said made in Taiwan, like they set that whole entire thing up, So they went inside doing this, knowing the intentions that no killer is going to be here. This is all fake. We're doing this for money. We're doing this for TV because it's reality TV. None of this is actually real. We're making it seem like it's real, but it's not really real.
They didn't want a bag either, because if I had seen Made in Taiwan, you know what I would have did? I'd act like I didn't see it.
Right.
I would have been screaming, like the limb would have been falling out. I would have had drool coming down, because secure the bag. Like, you already
Right.
here.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Put us in this movie. We'd fucking slay. Listen, I would
Mm-mm.
play every trope. I would be like the dickhead. I would play like
Oh
the
yeah.
jock asshole. And that's nothing like me at all. I'm not a jock. I'm not a dickhead. But I can be that person to play to get a bag in this reality TV show.
Hell
I would
yeah.
definitely do it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, all we need is Zeus to be the production team for
Oh,
the okay, now I went too far. We were on a roll.
that's a good idea though. It may work.
Oh,
Shit.
you will watch it? I thought you were about to get me together. So
No,
hey,
I will
look.
watch it because this is our field. This is our thing. I don't mind
Okay,
watching
okay,
it. And if
all
we're
right,
involved,
cool.
sure. Yeah, of course I'll watch it.
Yeah, it'll probably be good too, especially if it was like a Halloween kind of special, like they do it like around like October, kind of like they were trying to go for. There were some things of merit. There was a couple
Yeah,
things. They just needed some like reality TV people to talk to them. That's
yeah,
literally it.
yeah, 100%. Because this wasn't it. But then again, this was coming off the beginning of reality TV, so we
That's
didn't
true.
quite yet have the I Love New Yorks and Flavor of Loves and all of that stuff where it's building. This is what you need to be
Yeah.
to make it through reality TV. I mean, we didn't have those type of characters. Even Big Brother, when that first came out, I
Mm.
believe in the earlier seasons we didn't really have characters that were very I guess what's the word I'm looking for? Just very outrageous with their personality. You know what I mean? Like they weren't like a New York or a Davon from Big Brother. Like they weren't like those type of people. It wasn't until a little bit later when we start getting those type of people in reality shows. So I guess to be fair, they didn't know that's what they had to do. If this movie probably came out 4 or 5 years later, then maybe that's what they probably would have done with what you and I was saying as far as the character tropes and playing along those fields. But I think they just didn't know that yet because around that time, reality TV was just becoming big, and we didn't quite have those very um, big personalities. I mean, granted, we had the real world. Don't get me wrong. We had the real world. We had big personalities because the real world been around since the early '90s. But the real world wasn't a competition show. This is kind of like, I'm not even gonna say a competition show. This wasn't a competition show. This was more like a I don't know. I mean, they're getting money. I'm assuming. So would it be a I don't know because they're not doing any challenges or
Mhm.
anything.
It felt like one of those. I don't know what I would like categorize it as, but one of those TV shows where it's just about creating a spooky vibe for the TV viewers at home, especially how they did it like around Halloween time. It felt like it
Hmm.
was definitely like a limited series. Like they were just trying to get a bunch of people in the house that would get killed. by Michael Myers in the midnight hour, when they were
Yeah.
supposed to be in there investigating it. Like, the idea was pretty cool, but I've talked about this like on a couple of things. The only Rocky Horror Picture Show sequel that actually came to light, like Shock Treatment, they did a great job of taking people who act just like everyday people, just normal, and basically putting enough pressure on them or expectation to get them to act like what they think viewers want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they took Janet, who is from the original Rocky Horror Picture Show, like her character, they pretty much tell her, like, you're going to be the star. And the ego boosts her and exalts her higher above measure. And she's running around looking wild, just trying to fill the shoes of what the producers and the team made for her. And it was in a studio that was supposed to be like there's cameras everywhere. And
Mm-hmm.
so I always think that that movie was so far ahead of its time because of that. And I think like it's this had something similar to that, like that whole everything is exposed, there's cameras everywhere, and that's supposed to make it feel more real, but Michael Myers. But I wanted
Yeah.
like I don't know, I wanted like Michael Myers on like Halloween 2 level. So it's interesting that that's the person who worked on this, because if we got that Michael Myers, I think this movie would have been a lot more fun. Like that
Yeah.
would have been a lot of fun for me.
Yeah. I agree. It'd be interesting for a movie like this if you had a Tyra Banks still be alive throughout the movie and telling people, "Hey, I need you to go in this room and just act, say this to such and such," like kind of play that. The person behind the screen making these people act a certain way, so it
Mhm.
could portray because people's watching this in real time, obviously.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting if they did something like that in this movie. So it was a missed opportunity that they could have done, and actually probably gave Tyra Banks a little bit more to do because she was just
And I'm
trash.
still beefing with her because when she was making that latte, okay, so she started off okay. She started off
Mm-hmm.
all right. She put her little espresso in
Freddie.
there, and then she did sound like that.
She did.
She puts the milk in. I'm like, okay, that's a lot of milk, but whatever. I'm not going to judge. She puts the whipped cream in, and this is one of those continuity things you be talking about. Because at first, she ain't really put that much whipped cream in there. It was like a moderate amount. When, when the camera goes back, the whipped cream is sitting 6 or 7 inches above
Yes.
the cup, and she's licking and sucking on it, and she has a caramel. I was so grossed out. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't ever want to see that scene again. On a rewatch, I'm literally going to fast forward her
What
just
do you mean? That's
making
like one of the best scenes in the whole movie, Ryan.
no, I like the kill part, but that latte, they need to give me a digitally rendered version where that part is just gone. That thing is disgusting. And then she's stirring it with one of those, I always forget what they're called, but the little caramel sticks. I'm like, girl,
Mm.
ew. She gonna have the shits.
Well, she did, so I don't know.
Wait, but so she did get killed? I don't remember her
All
getting
right, so it
killed.
was a quick shot when I think this was like I think at the end of the movie. That's a shame. She didn't even
It-
get a nice death scene or anything. At the end of the movie, I think when Sarah was like, getting out the house and she finds the shed where they were at, and she looks up and she sees Tyra Banks hung up, and Tyra Banks looking down like cross-eyed
oh,
like
that's
this.
right. That's
So
right.
she has a off-screen death, but unfortunately we didn't see it. It's like, come on, we couldn't see her get killed, even though we had promo shots of her just looking like, and you see Michael Myers like this, like he's about to strangle her. So
Yeah.
it's just, was there a scene actually recorded that they just didn't put in the movie, or like it always was going to be off screen? Because I would like to see her get killed. It would have been justified probably for
It'd have
making that
made more
shitty
sense.
latte. Yeah,
Because she was in that little area like by herself for the majority of the film, because Freddy was the one that was going in and dressing up like Michael Myers. So
and told him
I
to
would
go
like
in
to see a
there.
chase scene with her too. Like
Right.
if they have time, like I mean, we're here for that.
All right, so we had this scene where he's when you got Freddy dressed as Michael Myers and he meets the real Michael Myers, and Freddy's cursing him the fuck out like, "I left the back door unlocked. Check your ass," and just going in. So he literally told Michael Myers to go kill his friend because that's where he said that what's Tyra Banks was at. But again,
Yeah,
it would have been
Nora.
nice to see Nora. It would be nice to see Nora get a little chase scene or a fight for her life for Michael Myers or something that, like, again, you can put Nora in this movie, well, Tyra Banks in this movie, and take her out. Like, you could have her in the first, like, literally the beginning of the movie, and then she's never shown again, and it would not make a difference to the movie. It would not add anything. It would not do anything for the movie. It was like she was on here for no reason. It was pointless. She was on here just to bring people in, an audience in.
And it
You know
worked,
what I
I think.
mean?
I think a lot of
Yeah.
people were excited that she was going to be in the film, and then they just it's
Disappointment.
sad. It really,
Yeah.
really is sad.
She could have been the final girl. She could have been, she could have put a Carla from I Still Know What You Did That Summer, and we thought
I
she was
would like
dead.
that.
She had a little chase scene, and all of a sudden we don't see much of her, and then she come out at the end like Freddy, like something like. But no, she died, and we didn't see it.
Also, about that scene where he says all the stuff about he left the back door unlocked for Nora. You need to go check on Nora. When the police came, they should have apprehended him.
Yeah,
He is an accessory to murder because
she would have
that man
survived
was
probably.
right. Like, you just blew her spot up. He deserves to catch a charge for that.
100%. And I don't think he's going to admit that either. I don't think he's ever going. He's going to get away with that shit because, like, I would feel guilty.
Yeah.
Like, damn, she's the reason why. Like, she died. Like, I'm the reason why she died because, like, I told him to go back there. You know what I mean? Like, that's wild. I don't know.
Freddy
That's
is
like,
such a camera whore on top of that because
mhm.
like, I didn't think about that. He had no emotional reaction to the fact that Nora got killed because of him. You're right. And
Mhm.
because at the end, when the police aren't even talking to him, they're talking to Gwyneth Paltrow. I don't know, the main girl.
Sarah.
And then out of nowhere, here he come. This ain't a
Right.
game.
Right.
Michael Myers is here. I'm like, you just got Nora killed. And on top of
Right.
that, you set this up. This happened because
Because of
of
you.
you. You're worse than Gail Weathers.
This
You know,
is
at least with Gail
right.
Weathers, it's actually like Gail Weathers is actually, in my opinion, even though she does investigate shit, she's still a victim.
Yeah.
He set this shit up.
Yeah, this is all his fault. You set everything up. You wanted to do a show here. You brought all these college kids in here. You brought your friend in here, your business partner, and you let the killer to her because you think it's somebody else dressed as Michael Myers. Like, common sense is to think, all right, if I think this is my friend, wouldn't my friend take the mask off too? Like, oh, well, why you thought, like, he wasn't saying anything. Like, bro, you don't think something was up, but I guess in Freddy's head, Michael Myers, it wasn't real. He's not real, so therefore, this must be my friend
And
just as Michael Myers.
and I would know it was Michael Myers. Like, even if, let's say theoretically, like, let's say he really did think maybe someone else dressed up like Michael Myers. Michael Myers has to smell appalling. You have to be able to smell him from a mile away if he's really in the cellar eating rats. And
Right.
if he doesn't shower. Like, I mean, if you took that, it looks good, like it's hot, the jumpsuit.
Yeah.
However, if
Well, I'm
you
sure it's
took it
hot
off of him,
inside too.
see, now
I'm
I'm
sure
turned
it's
off
hot.
again.
I'm sure it's hot and smelly inside as well.
If you took that off of him and put it up in the corner, it would stand up by itself. It's
Yeah.
it's crusty. You could smell Michael Myers. Like,
Yeah.
he had to know. Like, the moment that he turned around, the real tea is that he smelled him coming up. He smelled the
Yeah.
sardines and then the Old Spice that he tries to put over top of it to mask it. Like,
I don't think
that's what
Michael's
Michael
going to try
Myers
to
smells
mask
like.
it. I don't think he's going to mask it. He's not going to give a fuck.
Right. You're right. He probably just up there smell like 40-year-old must
Right? Oh my gosh.
and toe jam.
Not so damn.
And don't those Halloween masks have like a smell like after a
They're
bit of time?
latex. All right, so they only have a smell if you're sweating underneath it for a long periods of time, and you can just smell the latex, like the material's made out of. Like, cause I wear the mask one time for Halloween, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it didn't smell bad, but you could just smell the material that it's made out of. But for a killer that's wearing this mask 24/7, and not even just that, you're slashing people up. You got blood on you. You got maybe
Oh
gore
yeah,
and matter,
probably
and all of that
piss
sits
because
on
when
you.
people like die, don't they void their bowels and piss? Like that probably
Yes,
splashes on you. Like
right. Like it's just probably smells horrid. So you're right. That would make sense for Freddie to turn around, just like, yo, like, why the fuck you smell like that? You fucking stink. Take
right.
your ass to the back of the room. There's a shower with Nora.
Okay. You need to go check on Nora in the shower. See, now he about to catch a new type of charge off of that one. Like he about to okay, so this brings up a good question though. Is Michael Myers horny? Because do you remember like when he's looking at I'm not gonna say what I was gonna call her, the blonde because it's about to be rude, but the blonde girl like doing the little toot, 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 the little strip tease.
Yeah.
He was like like you can hear the breathing, and it definitely had like the light, like the red light special on him from the hallway, and you're just like,
Yeah.
he's like, hold up, what's going on up
Right.
and I'm like,
Nah. He like, they're in my old bedroom doing this. What's going on?
wait, was that his old bedroom? This whole time I thought it was
No.
supposed to be that.
I think it was Judith's room. I think it was his sister's bedroom that they were
Oh
in.
no, then he wasn't horny. He was right. What?
Yeah.
Hold up, I'm assuming was he horny on the night that he killed Judith?
He's a
He could,
child. He was
that
like
don't mean
10.
nothing, baby. These kids be out here. That don't
It
mean,
was like,
and you don't watch Maury. You don't watch Maury?
I used
Oh,
to.
these kids be out here.
I know. Um, you're right. It's so funny too. Fun fact. That's not even the same girl. Like when she's pulling her thing up, I remember they said they got a body double for her to do that because she said that they were trying to make her do that, and she said, "I'm not doing that. Like I'm doing this movie to be a particular character, but it didn't nowhere in the script it said I have to do this. So this is something that y'all adding in." So they said,
Wait,
"Okay,
what was the
cool."
body double when she was?
Mhm.
That was a
So
oh.
yeah, so you'll see her like insinuating it, but she never actually pulled her shirt up. They got a
Mm.
body double, and cause so she said when she went to the premiere to see it, she said I didn't do that. They got a body double to do that. She said that wasn't me. So they got somebody else just to do that little moment there for her because they really wanted that moment for whatever reason. And she was just like, I'm not
It might have been
doing
the
it.
body double that did Faith on Buffy then, because she was, you know. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm back.
So so yeah, Halloween Resurrection is a very interesting movie. Everybody dies. The again, the final girl I'm not a huge fan of. Even her screams wasn't the best. Now they try to give us the iconic moment where they try to scare her when they were doing like auditions or something like that, and she screamed and like broke the glasses. That wasn't really her. That was a scream double. Let's say that.
Yes,
Because
I like
throughout the
that.
rest of the movie, she wasn't screaming like that.
Thank
And I
God.
remember a lot of moments when she was screaming, it was literally that same like track that they kept repeating over and over again of her screaming. I can tell they just kept hitting repeat, repeat, repeat. Like it's just like, what are y'all doing, man? Y'all could have got somebody more interesting to be the final girl. Y'all could have got Tyra Banks, but whatever.
You know what I don't get now that you brought that up? Why is it when they were trapped in the house, instead of going through Decker, why didn't they turn to her and say, "Do the scream," and then she does the supersonic scream so the
Right.
windows break out and they escape?
Right.
Because it was established at the beginning that that girl can sing. Who said that?
Right. Right.
Wasn't it
Freddie.
Freddie? That girl can
You can
sing. I'm
say.
like, who's? I feel like I have
He's like,
I have something to say to this direct. Oh, you're right. You're right. He did the Birdman. He was
yeah.
like, I'm like, bruh, who's responsible? Point me to
Yeah,
the
we need to
HR
find these
department.
writers. We need to find the writers. What is going on?
Do the
And
scream.
she could have done that. The thing is, so again, there was plenty of opportunities for her to escape out that fucking house, and she made it so much harder for herself. Because I'm gonna go back. So when Michael Myers got knocked out the window with the cord, how the fuck did he get back in? So obviously there's an opening somewhere for you to get in and out of the damn house. Break a fucking window. Why is it so hard? It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. And then she goes back inside the house because didn't she go out like the attic and then like Michael Myers like bursts out the fucking window and she kicks him beside the
Yeah.
head. You could have like rolled down and maybe shimmy down like a pole or something off the roof and shimmy down onto the grass and ran
I'd have
away.
jumped.
Listen, I would have jumped onto the nearest tree or something. You're gonna go back inside the house, right? just it's just a lot of things in this movie didn't make any sense. But what else? I digress. Let's
And
talk
then,
about kills. Oh, go
oh
ahead.
yes, okay. Before kills, I'll say this one thing about Decker, and because I mean I have to. Like, if I was in Decker's shoes, she would have been dead because I would have assumed it was all fake. So, like, if he was in, like, for example, his old bedroom, I wouldn't tell her. I would say,
Hmm.
like, run to the old bedroom, and then we would all have been
Right.
laughing, like, ha ha ha, smacking fives, drinking PBRs, and then her ass would go up to the room and get killed, and I'd be like,
Listen, I played
oh,
Dead by Daylight with you, so if anything would.
you know too much information. That's the problem. No, if I was in that
so
house, I would probably have got out of there like quickly.
yeah, I would have found a way to get out. But listen, you're right though, because I'm bad with direction. So if I was Decker, I probably would have got her killed too. But it is what it is. Do you ever watch? Did you used to watch Disney Channel as a kid? Because Decker was played by I think his name is Ryan Merriman, and he was
Oh,
in the movie Smart House. Have you ever seen Smart
oh,
House on Disney
I
Channel?
haven't. No, I didn't watch like
Oh,
a whole lot of Disney Channel.
okay. Yeah, he was on Smart House, and there's a movie called Lucky the Irish. I used to have such a crush on him. But there's a movie called Smart House that he's in, where him and his family, they win this house that does everything that our houses can do today. You talk to a smart system that can unlock your doors, turn off the lights, give you everything you want. And this the robots, or I would say the AI person, is played by Kat. Is her name? No, it's Kate
Kate
Segal or
Beckinsale.
something. No, she's on Married with Children. The mom that played on Married with Children.
Oh, okay. I love
Yeah,
her.
she's great. And this is literally Smart House is a horror movie. It's not a horror movie, but it's a horror movie because she manifests into this like real person at the end of the movie, and she's like cursing everybody to fuck out, and she would not let them outside the house. Because she kind of like malfunctions. So at first she's trying to do everything for everybody, for the kids, for the father. She's like helping them do their homework. She's doing everything they
No,
want,
this
but then the
definitely ain't
father.
Peggy.
Right. And then the father like yells at her because the kids threw a party and she kind of went along with it. So she started to put her foot down. So she started like she put fucking gates on the windows. She like nobody's getting the fuck out of here. So Smart House was like kind of like a horror movie because they had to make her, I forgot what they did to her to make her like calm back down, but they did something and then she kind of like freed them out and blah
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. But you should check it out. It's a cute movie, but if it was turned into a horror movie, I think it would have been genius. But he's in that movie. He was so cute in that movie, but he was a little younger. So and that's another reason why I went to watch Holly Resurrection, because I was googling and whatever at the time,
Mm.
and I seen that he was in this movie. So I'm like, oh shit, you got somebody from Disney Channel in a horror movie. I wonder what his role going to be. And literally, his roles across town, behind a computer, not even involved with Michael Myers, no conversation, no nothing. He's just there to help talk to Sarah, get through the situation inside the Myers house, and that's all it is. So I was a little disappointed with that too. I feel like he would have been better if he was one of the characters inside the house rather than playing the person behind the computer. But what else?
I mean, it played into a lot of the reason why we don't like her as the final girl though, because like Laurie always had to fight, like Sydney
Mm-hmm.
had to fight. Like this young woman didn't really have to. I mean, she was smart to think to connect with Decker maybe, but in reality, it was just a guy mansplaining her through the
Mm-hmm.
experience that she was actually in. It would have been more interesting to see her interface with Michael Myers by herself.
Yeah.
But the only interesting casting thing that I had to grab the phone because I cannot remember the man's name, but the guy in the jacket or whatever, the leather jacket, that's the guy from Gossip Girl who plays the um in the new Gossip Girl, to be clear, who plays I can't remember anyone's name from that show, but he's the white guy who has the daughter who
That is him. You talking about the
yeah, thank
daughter?
you.
She's the bald one, and
Yeah, but I can't think of her name. But
I
yeah,
think,
her father.
and he had that little scandal with
Yeah.
the. That is him.
Like Emilio peeped it because I couldn't tell
Wow,
that it was him at all. But Emilio was like, "Oh, that's the guy from Gossip Girl," and I was like, "Oh, that is him." Yeah,
good
Luke
catch.
Kirby. Yeah,
Wow, I didn't know that.
yeah.
Okay, He got
That
his
was
head
all
squeezed
Mill
by Michael
though,
Myers.
because I was just like, oh, he's kind of hot, blah blah blah. Mill's like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, he was also on Gossip Girl. I'm like, oh yes, yeah.
No, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had
I
to
know.
think about. I'm like, who he played, but now I'm thinking about he's just older, obviously. But
Yeah,
like, wow, he still looks great. Okay,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
wow.
Yes.
You're like, mm.
Where's my water?
Right, I got mine right here.
Although the only thing that pissed me off about him was how gross he was, because
Yeah.
he literally isn't he the one responsible for saying, when are you gonna get out of your mind and think with your body? I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah. Who says shit like
ew,
that too? That's gross.
predators.
Right. You also
And then
had
when she
it,
started thinking with her body, here come Michael Myers peeking from the corner.
right, just like, woo.
Ooh.
I mean, he done it before, so
Oh,
um,
do you hear that?
yeah. I thought that was me at first. I'm like, hold
No,
up.
it's me, but I don't know where it's coming from. Oh, it's a car out front. Okay. Child, I thought that was it.
Oh, your house about to go.
I thought it was doing the Amityville hum before the house blow up.
Yo, child, like, what is it about time to get that clock?
Nah, they need an emissions test because damn. All right, there we
All right.
go.
Well, speaking of that, let's talk about the kills. So, what is
Yes.
some favorite kills in here? Because I mean, obviously, we got some decapitation, some head squeeze, some penetration of knives, and a bunch of stuff.
My favorite is definitely the decapitation,
Mhm.
because it doesn't get any better than that. First of
Yeah.
all, how fast would you have to be moving? Two, what type of kitchen knife is this?
Right.
How is it so sharp? I
Right.
don't see any. Is he down in that cellar in between PBRs and rats, just like using a stone to sharpen the
To
blade?
sharpen it. Probably he's been down there for a minute, so he's probably just down there like
Do
just
you know the
sharpening that shit.
scream that would leave my lungs if I went to go look at a house? I'm about to buy it. I'm like, okay, going to the basement. Here's a shirtless Michael Myers. Um, yeah, okay, never mind.
No, listen. Did you see the actor that played this Michael Myers?
No.
If he looked like that with the mask off, then yeah, yeah,
Oh, this is
I'm
even
there for
better.
it.
Send,
Sure,
send it to me.
sure thing.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay, so that's your favorite kill. That is
Yeah.
mine as well. But just because it's so all right, like you said, how fast is he going? What the strength that he had to do this? What did she do to him? Like,
That is true.
like that was some brutal force. For you to take somebody's head off with a fucking kitchen knife, you have to use some type of strength that you never used before. And for you to do that to her specifically, what did she do to you? And
She
the way
did.
she just stood there and screamed, and then her head rolled down them fucking steps. Right. And it was so fun. You can tell it was just like a CGI situation going on.
Oh yeah.
But it was just like, damn, I guess Michael really got annoyed with her about to do a
He
strip tease. So he was just like,
he
look,
hated her ass.
right, you doing this in my sister's room? Got you.
Judith, I said no.
Right.
They should have put it in slow motion, and they should have had the camera go back and forth. So it's like,
Almost
and
spit
then
out my
it cuts back to
water.
her. She's like, oh my god, I would
I
have
should,
loved
I
that
should
so much more.
I should go back and do that. Just find that scene and just put it in slow motion.
It was only 2 seconds before he hated her ass. He hated. He literally could have killed anyone with that brutality. He didn't even show himself killing Nora. He's like,
No.
look, I'm not focused on her, but this one,
Right, this one
oh
right here.
boy,
The slut, she gotta go.
right? she got to go,
And I make sure she's not coming back. I'm taking off that head.
right? You want to do a damn strip tease in my sister's room
Right. How dare
that
she?
I killed,
Plus years ago. Well, no,
right?
more than that actually. Oh man. Yeah, that's my favorite because everybody else, like for instance, Sean Patrick Thomas, like his was interesting because he was doing the whole knife things about to fuck Michael up, and then Michael somehow got a hold of him, lift him up, and then stabbed him through the door, but you didn't really see anything. The other bull got the the camera stand, and he got like the ejected thing in the neck when
Oh
Laura
yeah,
was
yeah.
dancing with the latte.
Uh,
The bull from Gossip Girl got his head squeezed and snapped, so that was interesting. Um, oh yeah, the girl got impaled on a gate. She died that way. That was a corny death. And Lori, I mean, Lori got, you know, see you in hell, and then she got stabbed in the back, and then knocked off the fucking roof, and CGI grass. There you go.
who
Um,
in the house were you the most like between not so much like the producers and stuff, but just the people who were actually in the show? If you had to
I
pick
told you I
one.
hated all of them, but if I
Yeah.
had to compare, I don't know. Sean Patrick Thomas character? Because I mean, the thing with him though is like he talks about food a lot because he's into culinary. He's into that. That's his field.
Yeah.
So I would be like that, but instead of like talking about, oh, what type of pepper is this and blah blah blah, I'll be wanting food. Like, yo, where's the food at? Like, I'm hungry. Like, where's the cakes? So I would be annoying in that way. So I
Yeah.
would be him, but with a flip. But that's it. I can't see myself like Sarah because I'm not. No. Definitely not old girl with the blonde hair. Definitely not
Oh yeah,
her.
no.
Um, definitely not the bull from Gossip Girl. Definitely not redhead. Like I don't like
That's
anybody
me,
in
the
here.
red haired girl. That's me.
Okay.
100%. With a few differences. I would not excuse me. I would not have smashed down there in those appalling conditions.
You don't think
It's the
that's
same.
hot?
Hell no. I mean,
This
you're
is
gonna
where
get
the
a
killer
UTI.
lives. Let's go. We can
It's you're
say
gonna get
that we had sex in in the Myers house and they're in the basement.
we can smash on the lawn of the Myers house. That way I could see all around us. But the moment she was like, "How Jungian," I was like, "Oh, that's me." I was like, this girl is kind of me. But then they just
Yeah,
didn't lean into her character enough. Like, I mean, but they
yeah,
didn't do that with any of them. So, but she was
yeah.
more me.
Okay, the closest. I guess I can see that.
Hmm?
Yeah, because I can't see you as anybody else, honestly. No,
Freaking Florence Welsh.
not Florence.
That's
Well,
that's what she was given a little bit. But I love Florence. It's not a read. I love her, but was given
what's that
just a
song
little
she
bit.
had? I see it in
Oh, you talking about Dog Days Are
my.
Over?
No, it's not that song though. It was another song.
What is the other joke? It's something wrong with me. No, but what was the other one?
There's
It's
another song that she said.
I
I have
listen to
to
all her shit.
I have to find the lyrics to it, but it's not "Dog Days Are Over" because that's the like the mainstream popular one that played everywhere.
Oh,
But
I
it's
know which one you're
another
talking. You're
song.
talking shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, shake
No,
it
this song is a
out.
little.
Ooh,
No, it's
ah.
not that one either. It's the song I'm talking about. I don't think it was mainstream. It was like it's a slower song. I'll find it and send it to you later. But that shit is so funny because she said like I can feel it in such and such, such and such, and even in my eyelids or something.
Oh,
I think it's
yeah,
that
yeah.
song.
You're
And
talking
how
about I was born in a big gray
yes,
car.
yes, I think it's
Yeah.
that one. I
If they
think it's
played that
that
to
one.
that death, I'm like, y'all can go to hell because I love this song.
I think it's that one. And I used to when I first heard the song, I was cracking up, but I love it so much. So yeah, I love me some Florence.
Yes. How Jungian. I'm gonna be saying that all week.
You should see if anybody get that reference. You should put it on Twitter and see what they say.
They won't, and they're gonna get me together. It's gonna be a 2-part combo.
Oh man. All right, so those are our favorite kills. Any favorite moments? Final thoughts on this movie?
My favorite moment, I mean, it's basic, but it's true, was Freddy standing down with Michael Myers dressed as Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Gold, iconic. And my final thoughts is that I talk so much shit about this movie, and yes, it's terrible. I still love it. And I think it's why I really want to talk about it because this is proof of something that you and I have talked about quite a few times. That slashers sometimes are just supposed to be fun. Like they're not really supposed to be as well thought out as I'm pretending to do all this with characters and stuff. It's just it's a good time. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch this again probably next year, like around Halloween, just because it's always gonna bring me back to the times I watch it with friends and family. It's ridiculous, it's fantastical, and I don't, I can't not love it, even though it's bad. That's my final
Okay.
thought.
Okay. My favorite moment for me is even though it was so goofy and so silly, But the whole standoff between Freddie and Michael at the end when they in the
Yes.
burning shed, and he's like, "Trick or treat, motherfucker." And then there's that situation, and he whoops Freddy's ass. And continuity issue again when Freddy's like laying on the laying down or whatever because Michael knocks him out. His dreads is like, well, his locks. I don't want to say dreads. His locks is kind of like on his like covering his face. And then they
Yeah.
shoot to Michael, and then go back to him, and they're off his face. And then they go back to Michael and back to him, and then his locks is on his face again. So I'm just like,
When they were on
what?
his face, by the way, it was definitely giving purr, by the way. I was like, purr. Yeah.
Oh my
But
god, stop.
it was. I was like, purr. Okay, Buster. But
But that is one of my favorite scenes because it's so silly that I had no. And by the point, I already knew this was at the end of the movie when I first seen it, and I just had to. I just laughed. I had to laugh. But yeah, that was my favorite moment because again, silly, but such a good time. And most people, when they talk about Halloween Resurrection, they talk about that moment, trick or treat, motherfucker. And my final thoughts is kind of like you said, it's meant to. All right, so I like to consider myself a Halloween enthusiast just because that first movie just set so many grounds and boundaries and just everything and just involving horror in general. And I think for me, I just put it on this high pedestal. So anything that comes after it, it needs to at least have something from that original film that maybe fell in love with it. So in this one here, it really has nothing. And I think that's what pissed me off. At least each Halloween film has something that I love about it that takes me back to that first movie. This one really has nothing. Besides Jamie Lee Curtis coming back. Um and I said, all right, well, if she's gone, at least they can focus on more characters, different people, because I don't mind that. But then
yeah.
these characters, like we mentioned before, are trash. Like there's no character development, there's nothing. So you don't really care if they die or live. So yes, it's a fun slasher. I will say that it's a fun movie. It makes no fucking sense. It's all over the place. It's kind of like what people's giving Halloween Kills, but I say this is worse than Halloween Kills, in my personal opinion. I'm just
It
going to say
is.
that. You know what I mean? Because at least Halloween Kills has some fandom there involving, legacy characters, shit that involved the first one. Fun kills at that too. And even though we talk about Evil Dies the Night and how bad that is I feel like that's going to be iconic going forward in the Halloween universe. People are always going to talk about Evil Dies Tonight, no matter how annoying it is. You're going
Yeah.
to hear that. I fucking hated it, honestly. I hate Evil Dies Tonight. The amount of times they said it in that fucking movie. But it's going to be cemented in the Halloween universe now. And this
Yeah.
movie, it just, I don't know, Resurrection didn't. I think Resurrection just has Trick or Treat Motherfucker. I think that's it. When you hear Busta Rhymes do that, I don't think it has anything else.
And
Um,
the scream.
Oh yeah, and the scream. Oh my gosh, I need to play that clip. That clip is definitely gonna make it on here when I edit this. Um, so that is my final thoughts. I had high hopes for this movie, but you know what, Ryan? Like you said, like as much trash as I talk about this movie, I'm going to watch it around Halloween. You know, I'll watch
Yeah.
it in October. I feel like it has to be somewhere in my lineup. Now, it's not going to be. Let me put on Halloween Resurrection. I'm in the mood for Halloween Resurrection. No, if it's on AMC Fear Fest and it happens to be
Yeah.
on, I'll watch it. But I'm not being forced to watch this movie again unless somebody, for A, like what we're doing, reviewing it. Two, if somebody want to talk about it on the podcast and I have to watch it. But at that point, I probably won't even do that because I know this movie from like the back of my head now.
Yeah.
So I probably won't even do that. And I think the last time I watched this movie is when I talked about it with Gray, and that was last year. So I guess an annual thing, once a year type of thing. So we'll see the reason next year, the reason why I had to talk about this movie.
An annual resurrection, as it were. And don't be
I guess.
surprised if the reason that you're watching it is because you get a call from me. I'm like, you know what? We should talk about it one more time. And
Right.
this, and
You gonna do
this time
something on
let's
the
do a critical
podcast.
watch. You know?
Yeah. You're gonna do something on the podcast watch, and then we're gonna
Yes.
be here we are. We're gonna be doing this again.
Just don't judge me. Like
No, not
Ryan.
at all.
Damn it. Okay. We have
No, not
done
at all.
too many events around this terrible ass movie.
Listen, if I'm surprised we haven't done that with Amityville. About it's about time. I mean, we talked about it once with Ash, but I'm surprised it hasn't been like, you
I
know,
I want to, you don't know this, it's random. What I really want to do, if I can ever get enough time, is actually cover the Amityville sequels because
okay,
I like them. I think they're fun and
yeah,
funny. And every time a new one gets announced, people tag me in it now, like on Twitter.
yeah.
They're like, Brother
They do.
Ghoulish.
It was your fault. They blame you automatically. And the crazy part about it is, it's not like you asked for more. You just said you were a fan. It's about time. But for
That's
some
literally
reason,
it.
right, that was it. Everybody's attacking you like this is Brother Goos's fault. He didn't say he wanted more. He just said he likes about time.
I think it was that time when they announced Space, and I was genuinely excited about the movie. I think I did it to myself because people were like, "We knew it. We knew that you would like Space," and I'm like, "What?"
Right?
They were like, "You need to go check on Nora. I left the back door unlocked." All the movies just started bleeding together in that one moment. Like, because the reason we're talking about this,
Yeah.
watch, we're going to get tagged. It's a really appalling Halloween rhetoric because of this episode right here. Brother
Oh my
Ghoulish
god.
loves Resurrection. He said it was his
Right.
favorite.
It's gonna happen. Watch.
Oh,
Um, I'm gonna put that as the description. YouTube. This is Brother Goulash's favorite Halloween film.
favorite. There's
That's
no
why they
other.
chose it. That's why they chose it.
They said it could be the only one they could watch. I can't. I can't. I'm not even ready.
Oh my gosh. All right, so that was our final thoughts. Rating, and that's the end of this. What would you give this rating out of 5 jack-o'-lanterns?
I would give it.
Also, would you give it a horror head watch? Because that's something I do when I do my reviews, like a horror head watch. If you recommend people to watch it, or if
Oh,
not.
I would. I can't, in good conscience, give this.
Okay.
Give it that one because no, I can't recommend anyone watch this. If you happen to have seen it, we can be in a support circle together. My rating for it, I don't want to give it like in the ones. I think that's a little cruel, but maybe like a 2. I would give it maybe a 2 out of 5 because, like you said, there's nothing that ties it to the things that we like about the franchise. Even Michael Myers is kind of Michael Myers light in this one,
Yeah.
but we did get some
What? I
Freddy,
mean, he's
which
chopping people's heads off with butcher knives. We've never seen that before.
we don't need to see it again. We don't need to see it anymore. It was cute for a taste, but not a swallow. I
True.
think we get some Freddy. He was
Yeah.
interesting. He was really, really funny in this. And 2, because of Freddy.
Okay. Because of Freddy.
Yeah.
Damn, we can't even say because of Tyra, Nora. Um, I'll say the same thing. I'll give this a 2. I'm not going to give it a 1 or 1.5 or any of that stuff, just because, um, it's it is a bad movie, but I still feel like there's something, if you want to put on a Halloween movie where you don't have to think too much and you just there for the the thrills and chills and just Michael Myers fucking people up, then put on this movie, sure. If you don't care about that, or if you just want something on in the background while you carving a pumpkin or you're doing Halloweeny stuff around the house, just put it on in the background. Maybe it'll help set that vibe in your house. I don't know, but it's not something that really requires a lot of attention and
Or brain power.
or brain power, honestly. So yeah, or if you're having a movie marathon, sure, but yeah, I wouldn't give it a horror hit watch either. But if you need to and if you want to, sure, go ahead. Like, who am I to tell you not to watch something? But I wouldn't recommend. So yes, a 2 out of 5 jack-o'-lanterns for me as well.
Yes.
So yeah, that's Halloween Resurrection for y'all. This was a fun ride talking about it. It was fun to revisit, and it made it even a little bit more better having this conversation with you, Ryan, just because um there's a lot of funny parts in here that I didn't realize that were funny until you brought them to my attention, and then we share a lot of funny moments, that a lot of scenes that we thought were funny together. Um and I just knew that it was going to be a mess. I just knew it was going to be a mess. So, yeah, thanks for joining me talking about Halloween Resurrection.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I I have to agree. I like it a lot more like when people talk about it. So, because then
Yeah.
it's social, it's fun.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So everybody, thanks again. This is day 8 because this movie is number 8 out of the franchise. And yeah, this is day 8 leading up to Halloween ends. I'm so excited to talk about what's next. Uh-oh. I think it's Rob Zombie's Halloween. That is next with
Ooh.
Tamon Kane. So we're gonna be talking about that movie. He chose that one, and Tamon can do a crazy Annie impersonation. Um, he can replicate her scream in that movie. It's great. Um, and you'll see Ryan when you when you look back. It's
That's
hilarious.
scary.
Yeah, it's very scary. But Ryan, would you like to plug your socials before we go? One more time.
Yes, you can find me at Brother Ghoulish on social media. And my website again is www.brotherghoulish.com.
Yes. And you can find me obviously here because you're watching YouTube, but also you can find me on the People Under the Scares podcast with my buddy Michael Anthony. Also, the Alter Tapes. I'm usually on there with Ryan over here as a rotation of different horror content creators. And occasionally we pair up together and talk, different alter horror shorts, which is a lot of fun. So you can check me out on here as well, and obviously here. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Show Brother Ghoulish some love as well. Support everything. Support their podcast. Support their book that's coming out. I'm super excited. I'm so proud of this person over here. Y'all don't understand. So yes.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. And that would be it. Thanks again for watching, y'all. Happy Halloween. Happy spooky season.
Wow. Happy Halloween.